So I woke up today, and guess what happened? Oh, boy. I got news that the Panthers have signed quarterback P.J. Walker. Oh, guess what? I predicted that over a month ago, February 20th. I said, hey, the stars are going to align. It all makes sense here. We should go to the Panthers. I love this move so very much. P.J. Walker is a 25-year-old quarterback, and he should be treated like a quarterback prospect. A lot of people don't understand how to evaluate P.J. Walker and how to view him as a quarterback. You should treat him like you treat Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert or Tua Tagovailoa. He's not a finished product. He's a guy who needs to sit, learn, and develop. And if he does, he could become an NFL franchise quarterback. He's a prospect, not a finished project. He's a young quarterback. He's got a lot of potential. I really believe in him. He's very gifted at moving in and out of the pocket. His pocket movement, his awareness at extending plays is phenomenal. He's got a really good arm. He throws a great tight spiral. He's very accurate. He had a problem in the XFL. He played in the XFL. He was the best quarterback in the XFL by a mile. He would have been the league MVP had they had a end of the season, but they didn't. You know the thing going around ended the season too. It caused the season to end early. He had one problem where he would have a lapse in judgment about once a game where he'd throw a ball that should have been intercepted. It caught up with him in the end of the year against the Seattle Dragons, I guess week, whatever. Like the last game they played, the Seattle Dragons played him really well. They had an interception. Again, P.J. Walker's not a finished product, but he's a really good quarterback with a ton of potential. And if you give him time to sit in Carolina behind, what's the guy's name? Oh my gosh, I'm running a blank. His name is Teddy Bridgewater. Thank you. That happens. When you talk into a microphone for hours and hours, you just blank on stuff occasionally. Look, I really like Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator in Carolina. I like Teddy Bridgewater. He's a stable quarterback ahead of him. And if you give P.J. Walker time to sit and learn, he could become the future franchise quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. I want to say this. The Panthers have made a bunch of really interesting moves recently. The Panthers wanted a new quarterback. They brought in Teddy Bridgewater. They gave him a 3-year, $20 million deal. Yes, it's a lot of money for you and me, but for a franchise, for a starting quarterback, it's a modest price. Giving Teddy Bridgewater $20 million a year is a very reasonable price for a franchise quarterback. And Teddy Bridgewater will be the week 1 starter for the Carolina Panthers. But it is very, very possible at some point next year, I believe P.J. Walker is going to get meaningful reps and play for the Carolina Panthers. And I think, again, he could become the franchise quarterback in Carolina. Here's what's interesting. Why I love this. I think the Carolina Panthers brought in a quarterback who could become their guy long term. And what's great about it is they didn't have to use a draft pick to make that happen. They have the 7th overall pick. And now they don't need a quarterback. So they can use that 7th overall pick in the NFL draft to bring in a player that makes their roster better rather than reaching on a quarterback. Like, let's say Tua, Joe Burrow, and Justin Herbert are all gone by the time the Carolina Panthers draft. Oh, they don't have to reach for a quarterback. They have a guy they like, Teddy Bridgewater. They have a guy that they might have in the future, P.J. Walker. Now they can either draft a player that makes their team better, or what I really think the Carolina Panthers should do, they need a lot of talent on their roster. They should trade down. Somebody's going to want to trade up for somebody. Trade down, go get other players, get a couple draft picks out of the trade down in the draft. I think that would make, because somebody's going to want to move up and try to draft a guy like Jordan Love or Jacob Eason. You never know. Maybe one of the big 3 quarterbacks is left in the NFL draft. And if I were the Carolina Panthers, I would want to now move down in the NFL draft. Unless they have their heart set on one guy, they're like, this guy is a starter, we love him, then draft a guy number 7 overall. The Panthers have made 4 big moves recently at the quarterback position. Of course, they signed P.J. Walker. He's a young quarterback. He's got a bright potential future. I think he could become the franchise quarterback of the Carolina Panthers, but he needs time. But remember this. Here's why logically P.J. Walker makes so much sense for the Carolina Panthers. He played college football at Temple. Guess who his coach was? Guess who recruited him to Temple? Matt Rule, who is now the head coach of the Carolina Panthers. They built a program together. They were bad the first year. By the time the 3rd year came along, they were a good football team. Matt Rule and P.J. Walker built a program together. They've done it before. They've got a good relationship. They've worked together before. But I mentioned that P.J. Walker needs time. He will not be ready to be an NFL starter come week 1. He's not ready. He needs time to sit, learn, and develop. Well, the very first move the Carolina Panthers made this offseason was they brought in quarterback Teddy Bridgewater. What they did was stabilize their quarterback room by bringing in Teddy Bridgewater. I loved the move. It's made a ton of sense. You got to remember, Joe Brady is the offensive coordinator of the Carolina Panthers. Last year, he was at LSU as the offensive coordinator. 2 years ago, Joe Brady was with the New Orleans Saints. Guess who Joe Brady worked with 2 years ago? 2 years ago, Joe Brady coached Teddy Bridgewater in New Orleans with the Saints. Joe Brady and Teddy Bridgewater know each other. Teddy's not the most physically gifted quarterback of all time, but he's stable and he makes good decisions. I like the move. Again, they have Teddy Bridgewater to start week 1, and maybe down the road they can shift gears and have PJ Walker be their franchise quarterback. Maybe it's Teddy. We won't know, but I like both options the Carolina Panthers have right now at quarterback. Now, another move the Panthers made was they traded quarterback Kyle Allen to the Washington Redskins. Kyle Allen is not an NFL starting quarterback. He tricked me. He actually had a pretty good game. His first start in the NFL, played really well, made some big-time throws. But as the season went on, it became pretty clear Kyle Allen has some good plays and then long-term has a low ceiling, is not really an NFL starting quarterback. He's kind of like Case Keenum where, Case Keenum will have a good game or two, and long-term he's not the guy you want to commit to. Kyle Allen is very similar. He's a really good backup, though, in the NFL. So the Panthers sent Kyle Allen to the Redskins. This is another move that makes a ton of sense. It's great for Kyle Allen. It's great for the Redskins. I'm actually really happy. The Panthers honestly did Kyle Allen a gigantic favor by sending him to Washington. Because when the Panthers fired their head coach, Ron Rivera, he went to the Washington Redskins. His entire staff followed him. So Kyle Allen is going to work with his old coaches in Washington. Good for him. He wasn't a free agent. The way it happened was he got traded there. It's a perfect fit for Kyle Allen. It's a great move by the Panthers. Very kind of them, honestly, to give Ron Rivera a good backup quarterback in Washington. They're familiar with Kyle Allen. Kyle Allen is familiar with their offense. All around a good move. Now, number 4, the fourth move that the Carolina Panthers made at quarterback was probably, it was definitely the most controversial move they made. The Panthers have moved on from quarterback Cam Newton. Teddy Bridgewater is the new starter. Maybe PJ Walker's the guy down the road. This makes complete sense to me if you think about it. Number 1, Cam Newton is not healthy. He's not healthy. He's getting older. He's in his 30s. And when Cam Newton can't run, he's not the same quarterback. As a decision maker without running, Cam Newton is an erratic decision maker. He's not a guy you want just sitting in the pocket all day. He's just not that quarterback. And the reality is the Panthers didn't want him. The Panthers have a new owner. The Panthers have a new head coach. They have no ties and no allegiance to Cam Newton at all. They didn't draft him. He's not the guy they wanted, honestly. They prefer Teddy Bridgewater. They prefer PJ Walker. People are very, very mad. Well, the Panthers, sorry to say, they're moving on. They have a new regime in town, new quarterbacks, new coaches. Everybody's new. And the people who are really, really mad that the Carolina Panthers are walking away from Cam Newton, a guy who's been injured the last 2 years, who just hasn't put out a good product. The last time Cam Newton was great was 2015. I don't know. The people who are mad, I think, are more loyal to Cam Newton than they are to the team. And there's nothing wrong with that. But be honest about it. Ask yourself, are you a Cam Newton fan or are you a Carolina Panthers fan? They're not the same thing anymore. Not at all. But I got to say, I love what the Carolina Panthers are doing. I love their coach, Matt Rule. I really like their owner, David Tepper. He seems like a good dude who cares about family values. I like that he brought in Matt Rule. I really like David Tepper. I love the new offensive coordinator, Joe Brady. I love Teddy Bridgewater. I love PJ Walker. Everything the Panthers are doing right now speaks to me. Every time the Panthers make a move, I go, I can't believe it. I still love what they're doing. I love what they're doing even more. I go, what? I just get continually surprised at how much I enjoy watching the Carolina Panthers make decisions. I'm rooting for them. I love the moves they've made at quarterback. And I want to see the Panthers succeed. I do. I'm not a Panthers fan by any means, but I will say I'm a Matt Rule fan. I really like Matt Rule. I don't care about teams. I care about people. And all the people in Carolina right now are people I'm rooting for. I just like them all. They seem like good people. PJ Walker's great. Teddy's great. The coach, the owner, the offensive coordinator, everybody there is somebody that I'm rooting for. And I don't care if the Panthers succeed, but I hope those people succeed. And if they do, I'd be very happy in the future. In case you don't know, Strong Opinion Sports is not just a YouTube channel. It is also a full audio podcast. You can find it on Spotify, on iTunes, on Google Play, pretty much everywhere you find podcasts. And if you like podcasts, please do me a huge favor and give it a listen.